Okay. So we will now today talk more about the agile software development. We already discussed many times what is software, agile software development, what is the need of agility in the software development. So few more things about, we will dive deeper into the agile software development. We try to understand it in detail. So agile software development is a group of software development methods based on iterative and incremental development, right? It's not like waterfall model where we collect all the requirements and develop it and deliver it. No, it's in the iterative and incremental. It is in the iterative and incremental approach where requirements and solution evolve through collaboration between self-organizing, cross-functional teams, right? It's a like we are not fixing the requirements at the beginning, like the way we are doing in the waterfall. It's always evolving throughout. Whenever like during that life cycle of software development, the requirements are always getting evolved. The solutions are always getting evolved, right? So methods, iterative and incremental. It promotes adaptive planning, evolutionary development, and deliver time box iterative approach. It is the thing which you need to now or remember time box. Okay, what do you mean by time box? It's a time constraint is there. You can just not say like we are doing development, we are doing development. How much time we are taking, right? We still doing development. So you can imagine Scrum, which implement the agile, is like the sprint cycle duration. We have decided it is a time box. Like the sprint should be from the duration of 2 to 4 weeks. Okay, so that is called as a time box iterative approach. It promotes adaptive planning, right? We are not rigid to the planning. Like we will not once we done with the planning, we will not say afterward if any changes are coming and that's why your planning is getting changed. We are not just denying that. Like we have completed with our planning task and we will not able to change the things, change our plans. So planning is something which is adaptive, evolutionary development and delivery, right? All the times we're trying to improve the uh, in the whatever we have developed till now, like we always try to enhance it, right? And wanted to make it better and better so that the customer satisfaction will be at great extent, right? And encourages rapid and flexible response to change. Change is something we are very adaptable. Agility is nothing but the change, right? uh, Multiple times the requirements are getting changed, rapid changes are there, right? So it's agile accept that, encourage that rapid and flexible response to change. It is conceptual framework that promotes forcing interaction throughout the development cycle, right? Then Agile Manifesto we have discussed, right? Again, one more time we will revise this. Software development method, that is already we know. Okay, lot many times traditional software development method. So a software development methodology or system development methodology is software engineering framework that is used to structure, plan and control the process of developing information system. Here don't confuse, like don't go with this definition. Information system is nothing but your software, whatever software you are going to develop. We will not go in detail with the software engineering. Already we have discussed many times about the software engineering. You all know, right? Software engineering in better manner. But the approach of iterative and incremental development, right? That is also we have uh, discussed. Like iterative and incremental development is at the heart of cyclic software development process, developing response to the weakness of waterfall model, right? We want to overcome the weakness of waterfall model. That's why we are going for the iterative and incremental. It starts with initial planning and ends with deployment with cyclic interaction in between, right? Initial planning se start karte and that planning is getting evolved again and again throughout the development life cycle. Then iterative and incremental development are essential part of the rational unified process. extreme programming, and generally the various agile software development framework. So this we will discuss like unified process, rational unified process. We will discuss in detail. It follows a similar process to the plan, do, check, act, cycle, business process improvement. Like, uh, matlab this iterative and incremental. What we have to do, we have to plan, we have to check, we have to implement that plan, we have to check it whether it's a correct one, it is acceptable one, and accordingly we have to act. Again, the cycle we are just repeating for each increment and trying to implement, trying to enhance the software with each increment, right? uh, the next topic is time box approach. So in time management, a time box allots a fixed period of time for an activity, right? Just say sprint, you can consider sprint ka duration is fixed, it is of 2 to 4 weeks, right? So whatever you have to do, you have to perform that activity in that period only. Time boxing plans activity by allocating time box six. Okay. So the sprint we can say that is time boxing. Okay, what are the common fears? Okay, so practitioner were afraid that project will produce the wrong product. Okay, like whoever are on the project development team, they are having a fear of like whether whatever will develop, whether it will lead to a wrong product. The product will produce product of inferior quality. The project will be late. Will have to work 80 hours weeks. Will have to break commitments. Won't be having fun. That are the common fears. Okay, uh, might be whenever you are doing the your project as also you might be at the beginning, you might have the same fear, but don't worry, right? Don't worry, if you follow the right, if you pick up the right software development model, it will not be a problem at all. So manifesto for the agile software development, we have discussed this: individual and interaction over process and tools, working software over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, responding to change over following a plan, right? This already we know. So let's talk about value number one in the agile, that is individual and interaction over process and tools. We have discussed this, right? Waterfall mein kya hai? Like if you consider the waterfall, the importance is given to the processes, right? Like steps, you know, planning, communication, planning, design, modeling, construction, and deployment. So it will uh, work on these phases. Done, started with communication, completed communication, started with planning, complete planning, started with design. So all process, okay. But here in Agile, in Scrum, you can imagine the importance is given to the individual. Product manner will start with building product backlog, then he will call a meeting with the Scrum team to do sprint planning, then do estimation, then start with the sprint cycle. So interaction, you can easily visualize the thing. Here we are not running behind to complete the process. We rather focus on individual and their interaction. So strong players a must, but can fail if won't work together, right? Strong player not necessarily, and a work well with others. Communication and interacting is more important than raw talent. If you are not able to work in the team, it is useless, right? You can imagine if in your group, like one of the member is uh, very talented, right? And he is something having in his mind which is perfect solution. But if he is not communicating in a team, whether it will be useful, of course not. right? Right tools are vital to smooth functioning of teams. Start small, right? Not necessary you have to consider ये सब कुछ करना है. Try to break it down into number of smaller parts and start with small. Find a free tool and use until you can demo you have outgrown it. Don't assume bigger is better, right? Start with whiteboard, flat files before going to huge database. Building team. Building team more important than building environment. Some manager build the environment and expect the team to fall together. Doesn't work. Okay, let the team build the environment on the basis of need. जैसे we always calling this as a क्या बोलते हैं, we are calling this as the cross development team, right? Cross functional team. So we the Scrum Agile allows team member to decide what you want to do. No one will tell you have to do planning, you have to do testing. It's their own call, right? Value number two is working software over comprehensive document, right? So you can imagine always in waterfall we run behind the documentation, like planning, communication ho gaya, prepare SRS, then planning, write the documentation for planning, then comes modeling, write the documentation for the designing, and then it's about implementation. So implementation is something which is too late in the development, overall development. So but agile may what we are doing, we believe on the working software. You can imagine we try to finish the first sprint in 2 to 4 weeks, and then we deliver that to the customer to show actual model. We are not giving the just document to the customer, rather we are giving some working model, workable, like deliverable things to the end user. They use it, they test it, they give the feedback. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. So yesterday only we have talked about while you are requirement engineering, there was the phase of negotiation where the developer and customer try to negotiate on some requirements at the beginning, right? And once that negotiation is happen, the same requirements will get implemented. But here in agile we are not negotiating anything, right? Rather we are collaborating. You can imagine in the waterfall what happened if you have done with the first phase, you if you are having the SRS ready, that is freeze and the same will get implemented and delivered to the end user. But that is not happening in the agile. What we are doing in the agile, uh, like first module, okay, the complete software, out of that we will deliver the first module to the end user. End user will use that and he will suggest the changes. So that is called as a customer collaboration, right? We will not rely on the negotiation. Responding to change over following a plan, you can see that in waterfall the plan is made, okay, depending on the requirements the plan will get made. Okay, plan will get created, and afterward, like the someone is coming, customer is coming with the changes, it is very difficult to change the plan. But it is not the case with the scrum and the agile, right? Then we have to, the topic of discussion is agile principles, right? So these are the principles those that differentiate the agile process from the other. So principle number one, our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. You can witness this. Highest priority is given to once the product owner is has created the backlog, product backlog, sprint planning happen, and very quickly within the software development life cycles, first 4 weeks, okay, you are delivering something early to the end user, right? And like what is more valuable to the customer, it's not the documents, it's all about how it's work. Valuable software and continuous, early and the continuous, after every, like if you are decided we will go with the sprint cycle of 4 weeks, after every 4 weeks you are delivering the valuable software module of the software to the customer, right? So number of practices have significant impact on quality of final systems. Strong correlation between quality and early delivery of partially functioning system. The less functional the initial delivery, the higher the quality of the final delivery. Right? There is a correlation between the quality and early delivery. Why it is so? Why you think that there will be a strong correlation? Because uh, you will get whatever you will be showing in the first month of software development, right? After 4 weeks, the definitely the collaboration will happen with the customer. Customer will come up with more and more changes, more and more suggestion, more and more feedback, on which you are having still many deliveries, many months in your hand to improvise, to work on that feedback, which leads to a quality product. Another strong correlation exists between final quality and frequent delivery of increasing functionalities, right? Again, there is a strong correlation. Final जो product आप deliver कर रहे हो and the frequency after every sprint you are delivering something, and with each delivery you are trying to increase some functionalities. The more frequent delivery, the higher final quality. So agile process delivery early and often. बहुत पहले, like if your duration is of 1 year in agile, the in waterfall, if you follow waterfall, ultimately the customer have to wait for 1 year. But in agile, customer need not to wait for complete year. He will get first working module in the first month itself, and every month he will be getting something incremental. So that is the principle number one. The principle two is welcome changing requirements, even late in the development. Agile process harness change for the customer's competitive advantage. It is very much necessary, right? Because you can imagine how competitive the today's world is all about, right? uh, Various competition who are trying to solve the same problem, right? Google Pay, Phone Pay, Paytm, then uh, Amazon Pay. Again, you can think of different problem state. Zomato, Uber it. I didn't I know I am unaware of other things. Then if you consider the Ola, Uber, online shopping, if you consider, so you are having Flipkart, you are having Amazon. So how competitive it is, right? And if you wanted to satisfy like the customer, right? If customer is coming with any change, you have to develop that. You just can't, even it is late, right? If you can imagine if customer is coming in the complete software development is of 1 year, and if on the ninth month, if customer is coming with any changes, you should not deny, because that is if what go who knows that single change will change the complete business strategy of your product. Okay, if it is even in late, the agile allows agile always welcome the change in the requirements. This is the statement of attitude. Okay, participants in an agile process are not afraid of change. They are ready to accept the change. Requirement changes are good because they know it leads to the better quality of product. Means team has learned more about what it will take to satisfy the market. Agile teams work to keep software structure flexible, so requirement changes impact is minimal. तो उनका डिजाइन ही ऐसे होता है agile team का कि whenever some changes are there, so there is a their software structure is very much flexible. The development happen in that way that the changes will if the changes are coming, it will not they need not to do lot of it should not impact in overall software, uh, right, software development. So this is the principle number two. Then the principle number three, deliver working software frequently. Okay, I have read for you. Deliver working software frequently. That is nothing but your iteration, your sprint cycle. from a couple of weeks to couple of months with a preference to shorter time scale. Right? We will not straightforward. If your software development life cycle is of 1 year, we will not have just only two iteration. First 6 months, second six. No, it should be of shorter duration and it should be a very often. So we develop working software deliver early and often. Be not content with delivering bundles of documents or plans. हम हमेशा what we are focusing on, we will not just document and plan all the time. We are not discussing. We implement it and we give it to the customer to use. Don't count those are value true deliverables. The goal of delivering software that satisfies the customer needs, right? Customer is all about how it's work. Okay, how it's documented, that is none of the business of customer. Customer will not be interested in looking how perfectly you have documented it. That is your call. You have to do that. Principle number 4: business people and developer must work together daily throughout the project, and that is what the daily meetings. Okay, it's very important. There they will discuss what you did today, what you are doing, what did you do yesterday, what you are doing today, and what are the hurdles in the way of development. And it is very necessary, right? It will not, like, if some problems are there, the communication gap will not happen. If someone in the team is stuck on particular time and he is finding it very difficult to get solution, the problem will get immediately report to the team by that day itself, right? So for agile project, there must be a significant and frequent interaction between customers, developers, and the stakeholders. And agile project must be continuously guided. Principle number 5: build project around motivated individual, right? So give them environment and support they need and trust them to get the job done. Like here, you can imagine the self-organizing team, cross-functional team. They are self-motivated. No one is telling what to do, right? You have to play this role. You have to play this role. No, they will decide by their own. They only, like, input given to that team will be just these are the tasks, sprint goals. These are the sprint backlog which you are supposed to clear out in this particular duration, and then it's their call how to do that. No one will just interfere in their decisions, and they knows very well ki, uh, for this task we are responsible. So an agile project has people the most important factor of success. That is the first manifesto of the agile. Agile focuses on people and the interaction and not on the process and tools. It's a great success for the agile project. So all other factor, process, environment, management, etc. are considered to be second order effects and are subject to change if they are having an adverse effect upon the people. That are the second factor. Process, what process you follow, what environments you are, what management, that is the second factor. The thing is your development team. Example, if office environment is an obstacle to the team, change the office environment. If certain process steps are obstacle to the team, change the process steps. Okay, but we are not going to change the people itself, the team itself. Principle number 6: the most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within a development team is face-to-face communication. I forgot to tell you, but in Delhi Scrum meeting, that meeting is never virtual. It is all the time. It is daily kind of meeting, right? And face-to-face meeting, you also can agree with me. It's having a great impact rather than having a virtual meeting. Like your team members can just look out at your face and will able to understand what are what different problems you are facing or what is your opinion, whether you're having positive opinion or negative opinion, right? And the same can help in when we are sitting together for evaluating your stories, planning poker we are doing. By your face, you will be agree like we should go for the higher estimation, or we can just rate it at the lower estimation. So that is the thing, right? It's believe on face-to-face communication. In Agile project, developer talk to each other. The primary model of communication is conversation. Document may be created, but there is no attempt to capture all project information in writing. We believe on it is the Agile Manifesto. We believe on the working model instead of documentation, right? An Agile project team does not demand written specification, written plans, or written design. They may create them if they perceive an immediate and significant need, but they are not the default. The default is conversation. Always, you can imagine product backlog is getting created. The product owner will call the Scrum team for the meeting. He will just explain the product backlog, and they together will do the sprint planning. And now the picture is clear to the Scrum team what different backlogs they need to create as a sprint cycles. So that is happen with the conversation, right? Then working software is primary measure of a progress. It's not like in waterfall you can easily visualize how progress is measured. If your communication done, planning done, designing done, yet the implementation is started. You can imagine. You can imagine how the progress is. कितने phases complete हुए, that will indicate the progress of software development. But here we believe on the progress is nothing but the working software. So sprint, after every sprint, the delivery is there, right? Shippable products are there. Agile project measures their progress by measuring the amount of working software. Progress not measured by phase we are in or by volume of produced documentation or by the amount of code they have created, right? इससे नहीं होता. Progress is what? Agile teams are 30% done when 30% of the necessary functionalities is working. You can imagine if your product backlog contains 10 stories, if out of that 10 stories, if 30 stories are 30% of stories are clear out, that's the indication of your progress, right? Then principle number 8, Agile process promotes sustainable development. Okay. Sustainable. What do you mean by sustainable development, right? A sponsor, developer, and user should be able to maintain a constant pace identity indefinitely, right? An agile project is not run like 50-yard dash. It is run like a marathon. You will be agree with this statement, right? Marathon. The team does not take off at full speed and try to maintain that speed for the duration. Rather, they run at a fast but sustainable pace. 2 to 4 week, 2 to 4 week, 2 to 4 week, right? Sprint cycle, you can imagine. Running too fast leads to burnout, shortcuts, and debacles. Agile team pays themselves. They don't allow themselves to get too tired. They don't borrow tomorrow's energy to get a bit more done today. They work at a rate that allows them to maintain the highest quality standards for the duration of the project. That sprint planning is very necessary, right? We have seen like very beautiful quoted statement we have gone through. What Agile does, it does little of everything all the time, right? Principle number 9, continuous attention to technical excellence and good design enhance agility, right? In their time when they are on the development, they always try to be uh, try to bring the quality, right? uh, High quality is the key to high speed. The way to go fast is to keep software as clean and robust as possible. All agile team members are committed to producing only the highest quality code they can. They do not make messes and then tell themselves they will clean it up when they have more time. Do it right the first time. That is the principle the team follows, right? They always do whatever they are doing. They always, because again there is no scope to revise the whatever we have done in the last sprint. Let's revise it. Okay, no. Principle number 10, simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done, is essential, right? Agile team takes the simplest path that is consistent with their goal. They don't anticipate tomorrow's problems and try to defend against them today. Rather, they do the simplest and the highest quality work today, confident that it will be easy to change if and when tomorrow's problem arrives. They just don't run behind कि बाद में क्या problem create हो सकते. They focus on today's task. Whatever you will be developing today, you have to just think about the highest quality and it should be simple. If tomorrow changes are coming, they are very confident that they can adapt that changes. Principle number 11, the best architecture requirements and design emerge from self-organizing team. This is the major, the strength of Agile. Self-organizing team. Because they know, the team knows these are the tasks we have to do in this particular time periods, and if the success is happen, it is like we will get appreciated. But if something goes wrong, we are answerable. So always they try to build something which is quality product, which leads to the team success, right? An agile team is self-organizing team. Responsibilities are not handled to individual team members from the outside, not even scrum master. They decide themselves कौन क्या करेगा. Responsibility are communicated to the team as a whole, and the team determines the best way to fulfill them. They will decide who will do plan, how much duration we have to spend on the planning, designing, development, testing. Agile team members work together on all project aspects. Each is allowed input into the whole. No single team member is responsible for architecture or the requirements or the tests, etc. The team share those responsibilities and each team member has influence over them. And the last principle is at regular interval, the team reflects on how to be more effective, then tune and adjust its behavior accordingly. You can imagine we are having retrospective meeting. So there they are going to discuss how what mistake we did in the last sprint, last interval. What good things we observed that speed up our implementation. So they brainstorm that together. An agile team continuously adjusts its organizational rule, conventions, and relationship, etc. An agile team know that its environment is continuously changing and knows that they must change with that environment to remain agile. And this is the agile, right? Conclusion, right? So the professional goal of every software engineer and every development team is to deliver the highest possible value to employers and the customer, satisfy the customer and the employer, and yet our project fail to deliver value at dismaying rate. Though well intentioned, the upward spiral of process inflation is uh, culpable for at least some of this failure. The principles and the value of agile software development were formed as a way to help teams break the cycle of process inflation and to focus on simple technique for reaching their goals. Okay, so these are the, at the time of this writing there were many agile processes to choose from. कौन से है, like you, if you want to implement this agile philosophy, so what are the tools? Scrum is there, which we have learned. Crystal is there. FDD is there, feature driven development, adaptive software development, extreme programming, and others, right? Kanban is also there. So that's all for the